Hello and welcome to Homeschool MBA, where we talk about different management business administration topics. Thank you for being here. Let's get started. The agenda today is conflicts in project management. I created a one-page slide which goes over issues that one faces as a project ebbs and flows. Hello, Professor. How are you doing? Let's talk about conflicts in project management.
Thank you very much. Conflict in project management, or for that matter, in any type of management, are inevitable. Conflicts can be, different types. There are different conflicts which can occur during project implementation. For example, positive conflicts and negative conflicts. Individual views regarding project issues differ. Every manager looks at the project from his point of view to achieve organizational goals. The underlying facts of projects are never challenged but looked upon from different angles by different managers. Now, what it means is that there are two types of conflicts, positive conflicts and negative conflicts. Positive conflicts are always good because everybody comes out with his or her opinion about various subjects and the best one is selected. And these are like policy conflicts or conflicts of approach and things like that. Excuse me. Negative conflicts are basically unproductive and they must be, avoided. And we'll be discussing them as destructive conflicts a little later on. Now, conflict between project managers and functional manager. Now, there are always two types of managers. One is the project manager. Now, under project manager, there are a number of functional managers looking after various functions like technology is a function, finance is a function, marketing is a function, sales is a function, operation is a function. So there is a project manager who performs the general manager's duties, and under him are working the functional managers. Now, project manager is focused on the whole project, comprising of the several sub-projects being managed by different functional managers. Project manager good is uh, goal is implementation of the project as a whole. That's what you have put on your slide, and that's a good because the project manager looks at the project as a whole. Within the project, like there are different functional managers, similarly there are some sub projects, and all these sub projects are interlinked. One project's output is the input for the other project. So the functional managers are focused on their own part of the project and their individual goals and objectives, which may lead to conflict with project manager. So the function managers, their objective is limited to their own function only, and there can be sometime, a conflict between marketing and sales. The sales people like to, marketing people like the sales people to sell more, but the sale people may have a conflict with production that they are not producing as much as the marketing wants. So this type of conflicts the functional managers are faced with, and these are positive conflicts. Then constructive conflicts, we refer them as positive conflicts like schedules and budgets, task, resource allocation, alternatives and trade-offs, priorities regarding implementation. So basically, the constructive conflicts are positive conflicts. They are conflicts of approach, conflicts of allocation of resources, conflicts of strategy, conflicts of planning. So these are conflicts otherwise lead to debates. One party is saying something else, the other party is saying something else, and the project manager brings out the best one, and that alternative is selected, and then they carry on. Because you see, if there is no conflict, then there is no discussion. then there is no debate. And if there is no debate, then it becomes, not a collective decision. It becomes then only, unilateral decision by one person, and that may lead the organization to a negative situation. But opposite to that is destructive conflicts. These are called negative conflicts. The worst is the conflict of interest. Now, conflict of interest is like a general manager has an vacancy for a sales officer, and instead of appointing somebody on merit, he or she appoints his own relative or friend without caring for the merits. That's a sort of conflict of interest, and that's a very, very serious negative conflict which must be avoided under all circumstances. Then there are personality conflicts. Now, these are like, you see, there are some optimistic personalities, then there are some pessimistic personalities. Pessimistic personalities are negative personalities. They always call half glass empty, and optimistic, they say half glass full. So the personality conflict between the manager and the team leaders, or between the manager and the function manager, can lead to almost almost destruction of that project, because that conflict again must be avoided. Then organizational politics is also a kind of negative conflict, which leads to inefficiencies and a waste of time and material. Project goals conflicts, that is, you see, that somebody wants to do something at the cost of the other. So that again is not recommended. And then ambiguous roles and structures. Now, these are negative conflicts created by the policy or the procedures that are set for the team to follow. Then comes the last one, that is conflict resolution. Now, as we say that conflicts are inevitable, exactly the same way conflict resolution is also inevitable. It must be planned, pre-planned, and all the SOPs must be ready to resolve any conflict whenever it occurs. And what does that mean, being ready? First of all, good communication is critical to avoid conflicts. Now, if you remember, or if you recall your own job, you would see that lack of communication leads to conflicts. The chief executive or the top management is saying something else, and the people downstairs are understanding it other way around. So that leads to conflict. So that must be resolved. So how can we do that? That is that giving every person, putting every person of the organization on the same page. Conflict negotiation strategies and approaches must be developed. That if there is a conflict, now this is the approach, or this is the SOPs that it would be resolved. Both the parties would be called, and the points of view of both the parties would be, heard in objective manner, and the best one would be picked up. Conflicting parties' involvement in resolution is therefore absolutely essential and important. And these, the conflicting parties must also keep in mind that their objective should be to resolve the conflict, not to win the situation. So there is no win and lose situation in this conflict. It has to be towards resolving the conflict, not going to a situation where one party loses and the other party wins type of thing. Providing consultation and advisory services is again part of the SOPs, that whenever there is a conflict, then these consultancy services, not that you hire the consultant, within the organization, you have senior people, you have senior managers, those who understand the situation. So they are, their opinion is sought, or their consultation is sought, or their advice is sought to resolve the conflict. So therefore, we say that conflict is inevitable, at the same time it must be resolved. That's the way of managing a project. I think that's enough as far as this topic is concerned.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to all our social media.